Hi, my name is Mr. Villanueva. I've been teaching here at Northview for over 20 years. And I've been teaching the AP Calculus, AB, and BC classes for that amount of time. Um, you're watching this because you're probably interested in taking the class. Maybe it's trying to take AB or BC. But they wanted us to kind of give you a little talk about what you should be expecting. So let me give you a couple little things. You can see the prerequisites. It's important that you guys are confident with your algebra and trigonometry skills. You don't have to be a master, but you should know how to recognize a trigonometric identity. You should be able to simplify fractions, add and subtract rational expressions, graphs, have a basic idea of what graphs look like. Whenever we mention specific powers, squares, cubes, powers, and things like that, you should be able to picture them in your head. Maybe you don't have to be able to graph them out precisely, but at least a general image. Um, but you have to be confident with your algebra. You have to be confident with your trigonometry. When we talk about sines and cosines and the behaviors of those graphs, measurements of their angles. So if I mentioned, sine of pi over 2, you should be able to say, oh, that's equal to 1. Things like that. Because when we're doing calculus, we tend to use a lot of that information. And if you're just going to have to try to always remember everything that you learned for the past 2 or 3 years, it's going to get a little tough. Not to say that I want to discourage you from taking the class, but it does become more work for you. So you want to make sure that you're at least like, okay, I'm knowledgeable in this, and maybe I'm a little shaky, but it's okay. Like I said, you don't have to be a master at it. You don't have to be able to recall everything immediately. Yeah, some of the students I have now are excellent students, and they still struggle a little bit remembering some things, which is fine. It's normal. But make sure that you guys at least you feel confident doing that work. The time required that you're going to have to use for either class, A, B, or BC, is going to be at least 2 hours a week. Um, I don't give a lot of homework in terms of multiple sections. Like you're not going to have 5 sections over 5 days. But you might have 1 or 2 sections over 5 days. And that may not sound like a lot, but the homework takes time. Teaching the lessons can take me 2 to 3 days sometimes. So the homework is going to take time. It's not going to be something you can do in like 30 minutes and be just fine with it. Okay. You do need to put some time and effort into it, and it is going to kind of require you to be able to just focus on it. So definitely don't come into this class thinking like it's going to be really quick, not a lot of assignments. I should be able to get everything done in a couple of minutes or something like that. It's not the way it works. If that's the rigor you're going to put into the class, it's not going to really work out for you. And the class is going to seem like you're learning a foreign language. It's true. There's going to be a lot of new notation that you've never seen, a lot of definitions that you've used before, but we're going to be utilizing them in different ways. So the content's going to be different. It's going to seem foreign, and that's okay because that's what calculus is. It's a whole new way of doing math. It's usually a lot more intuitive. We tend to do a lot more theorems and proofs. Now, we're not going to be doing proofs like you do in geometry and memorizing theorems word for word over and over again, but we are going to have to deal with those things. And you can't just, like I said, come in and look at the information and say, I'm out, this is too hard. Like you do need to kind of put a little bit of effort into it. So don't expect it to be easy. It is an AP class, right? Advanced placement. So you should be expecting it to have some rigor. Okay. Now, for you BC students, the content is going to be new. We're going to be covering things like sequences and series using calculus. We're going to talk about vectors, parametric functions, polar equations, right? Things like that. And it's a lot less content in BC than it is in AB. So sometimes people say, oh, it's easier. No, the content's a little weirder. It's a little tougher. But since it's less, we actually can take a lot more time working on it and, talking about it, explaining it and things like that. So it is kind of nice. But it is going to be the same rigor. So new content, same rigor. That's what I put right there because I want you guys to understand that it's not going to be just a walk in the park just because you learned everything from last year, AB. You're going to be just fine for BC. The content changes. It's not just talking about surface areas of revolutions or derivatives and integrals and things like that anymore. There's going to be some new stuff. So just prep for that. Now, what you need You need a positive attitude and a willingness to work through adversity. Okay, one of the things that I kind of frown on is when my students come in and they see the content in the first week and they're like, "Oh, this is hard. I'm dropping." And I'm like, "You haven't even given it a chance yet. Like you haven't digested the content yet. Why are you quitting?" So I always tell my students, you gotta work through it. Okay, even I did not understand everything in mathematics when I was in college, and I had to work through it. I couldn't just quit, right? So keep a positive attitude, keep a willingness to keep working at it. Just because things get difficult, it doesn't mean that you quit. You're gonna have to find a way, right? That's the way life's gonna be. So you're gonna have to find a way. So come and talk to your teachers. I'm always here. So come and talk to us, to all your teachers. But you can come talk to me, and I'll try to see if I can help you as best as I can. Because I would like everybody to be successful. The class as a whole, I like it. It's an interesting class. I think it's very interesting. I think the topics are interesting. I think it makes all the other math so much easier once you understand calculus. And I think it's a great class for students to take because it helps you use your brain in a different way, to think about math in a different way. So I really recommend it for you guys. But like I said, make sure you feel confident taking a class like this too. So hopefully this has been helpful for you guys, and the counselors can talk to you about it. Have a good day.